No, no, just trust by very.
Om Shuklam Varadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarvavighnopashantaye Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murtibheda Vibhagine Vyomavad-vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryan Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Manojavam Marutatunya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtham Vatatmajam Vanarayutamukhyam Shri Ramadutam Manasa Smarami Shirasa Smarami Manasa Smarami that is, it adds to the verse. When the verse ends in only one of the two, then the other one is an extra. Sri Ramadutam Shirasa Namami Manasa Smarami. There is another version. Sri Ramadutam Sharanam Prapatti. So that sometimes that reading also is there.
So which one do you say?
I tend to say Sharanam Prapatti. You tend to say Manasa Shirasa Namami. So that's why we throw each other off sometimes. But that's okay. Both are correct. There are two versions. You'll find. So we'll chant Hanuman Chalisa. Shri Guru Charana Saroj Raja Nija Mana Mukura Sudhari Varnau Raghubar Bimala Yasho Jodayak Palachari Buddhihina Tanujanike Sumiro Pavan Kumar Bala Buddhi Vidya Dehu Muni Harahu Kalesha Vikar Jai Hanuman Gyan Gun Sagar Jai Kapi Satihu Loka Ujagar Ramaduta Atulita Baladhama Anjani Putra Pavana Sutanama Mahavira Vikram Bajrangi Kumati Nivar Sumati Ke Sangi Kanchana Varna Viraja Subesha Kanana Kundala Kunchita Kesha Hath Vajra aur Dvaja Viraje Kande Munja Jane Usaje Shankara Subhana Kesari Nandan Teja Pratapa Mahajagavanna Vidyavana Guni Ati Chatur Rama Kaj Karibe Ko Atur Prabhu Charitra Sunibe Ko Rasiya Rama Lakhana Sita Manavasiya Sukshma Rupa Dhari Siya Hidikava Vikata Rupa Dhari Lanka Jarava Bhima Rupa Dhari Asura Samare Ramachandra Ke Kaj Samare Laye Sajivana Lakhana Jiyaye Shri Raghubir Har Shiur Laye Raghupati Kini Bahut Badai Tum Mama Priya Bharat Hi Samabhai Sahasa Badana Tumharo Yash Gave As Kahi Shri Pati Kantha Lagave Sanagadik Brahmadi Munisa Narad Ramadut Atulit Baldhama Anjani Putra Pavana Sutanama. We have seen the first half. Ramaduta Atulit Baldhama Anjani Putra Pavana Sutanama. So Sri Hanumanji was the son of Anjana or Anjani. So Anjani was the name of his mother, and Pavanasuta. Pavanasuta means the son of Vayu, Vayu Devata. So how is he the son of Vayu Devata? We have to understand this particular concept. Many times we have Devatas, so they have sons. This is the son of Vayu, son of Indra, son of Surya. Can't take it literally. You take it in terms of blessing. The blessing of the Lord. When we say the Lord manifests, even when we say Shiva, Shiva manifests as Hanumanji, according to the story, according to the Purana. That means what? Manifestation is not literal. It's not that he left Kailasha and then came and became Hanumanji. If that was true, then he would not be in Kailasha anymore. He would be here because Hanumanji is still here. He's still here. So that means he should not be there. But that is not like that. He is there. At the same time, he is here also. So he is manifest in this particular form, not having given up that other form. In fact, it is the blessing of that particular deity. Suppose you are not having, this is a couple, they are not having any progeny, and they do prayer. Somebody tells them, no, you do a lot of prayer, so you should do prayers to this particular deity. Or they will take one vrata. I am going to go to Ganga and do this. Or if I have a son, I will bring him there. Like there's so many vratams we do. And this person, suppose the father, the mother, they are sitting and praying long time for this deity, to the deity. They get a child. In their mind, this is very common. What would you think? That this is a child born of, naturally, born of this God's blessing, particular blessing. That's why they will name them also like that. So Shiva Prasad, Ganga Prasad, Ram Prasad. So obviously, that parent must have done a lot of prayers to Sri Rama and then felt blessed by a child which otherwise they may not have had. And then because of the intervention of their prayers, it really becomes the Lord's blessing. That is something which we can very easily relate to. In this one Ramayana, called Adbhuta Ramayana, this is the story. So, Anjani was married to his, what was his name? Kesari. Hanumanji's father, the earthly father was Kesari. Mother is Anjani. So a long time. So she was not having any children. So she prays. And in the prayers the story goes that Dasharatha was doing this Putra Kameshti Yaga. And in this Putra Kameshti Yaga, as a result of that, he got this Prasada, the Paisam. And while the Paisam was being distributed to his wife, so one kite, a hawk or a kite, so happened to swoop down and picked up some of this Paisam in its beak and was flying. And as this kite was flying over the forest, some of it fell. So from its beak, some of that Paisam fell. And Anjani happened to be down there doing pujas to Lord Shiva, because she used to pray to Shiva for getting progeny. And so this Paisam falls on her hand, and so being a monkey, she licks it. Immediately she licks it. So as a result of that Paisam, the prasadam of Putra Kameshti Yaga, so Hanumanji is born. Like that story is there in this one Ramayana. So thus naturally, so if this happened to you, You were sitting there and puja was being, you were doing prayers and the thing just falls like that. Then what would you say? Naturally, who carried it? The one who carried it really was not the hawk. It was Pavanam, Vayu Devata. So thus, Vayu Devata is the one who participated, was a part of Sri Hanumanji's birth, responsible part of his blessing. So he is looked upon as his father. Hanumanji is Vayu's son and he is Anjana is his mother. So thus there is a lot of bhavana here. Bhakti, prasad, these things you can't just, literally you can't really explain satisfactorily. So thus he is Anjani Putraha, Pavana Sutaha, Nama. These are his names. Anjaneya. Mahavir Vikram Bajrangi, Kumati Nivar Sumati Ke Sangi. Mahavir. Now our Mahavir is also there upstairs. There is even Mahavir. He is also Mahavir. But then Hanumanji was a great, very, very courageous, heroic, brave person. Vikramaha. Vikramaha means the one who is valiant again, always successful. Bajrangi. Bajrangi means the one who is very strong, very sturdy, built. And his strength and valor was very renowned. He is renowned for that. In the battle, he performed some tremendous feats. He killed many asuras, one of which was Dhumrakasha. Dhumrakasha is one of the Rakshasas in the beginning. So Ravana sends a lot of his big guns to fight. And then Dhumrakasha, he really created havoc among all the Vanaras and among the bears and all on Sri Rama's army. Until Sri Hanumanji confronts him and then he destroys him. Not only that, there were other people, very big, Akampan. There's one Asura, Rakshasa called Akampan. So at some point in the battle, Ravana asked one of his commanders, whose name is Saran. He wants to know the details of the army, the other side. He wants to find out their strength, their weaknesses. So Saran is he goes there, finds out the details, comes back and reports. In reporting, he talks about what great warriors are there on the other side. First of all, it's pretty confusing to identify them. If you're fighting a whole army of monkeys, very difficult to identify who's who, especially for this Asura fellow. But in them, he found some very great, like Sugriva, and then Hanumanji, and this Angada. They're all big, and also these bears and all, they were huge. Jambavan, they were all very big warriors. So he goes on describing their greatness of Rama, greatness of Lakshmana, to the extent that Ravana gets very irritated at him. Because he wants to know his strength, but he doesn't want to keep hearing how good they are. So at some point, he then throws him out of the assembly. He says, you get up, I don't want to hear any more of this nonsense of yours. You're talking about these monkeys like they're so great. Anyway, I'm going to send, at that time he sends this Akampan. And Akampan goes, and boy, he is also something. He also has to be destroyed because he destroys a lot of these Vanaras. And then Hanumanji finally fights him with bare hands and he destroys him. He destroyed people like Nikumba, Kumbha Nikumba. So Kumbha was one person, Nikumba was another person. Kumbha was killed by Sugriva, Hanumanji destroyed. This was another two brothers who were a disaster. Then Ravana also, he also had a confrontation with Ravana, Hanumanji. They had like some kind of a sparring battle. So slapping each other, pushing each other, boxing each other. Then Ravana got diverted, so that battle didn't continue much. But he sparred with Ravana also. And then ultimately he kills this Nikumba. Nikumba, Ravana at one point said, there are only 4 people I really trust totally who can do something, the strongest of his side. One was himself, one was Indrajit, one was Prahasta, and one was Nikumba. These were invincible, these 4. Of course, Hanumanji gets rid of Nikumba like that. All these battles, Nikumba didn't fight him with weapons because Hanumanji couldn't wield bow and arrow. So he fought him hand-to-hand combat. And then in the hand-to-hand combat, Hanumanji destroys him. So like that, his strength was just uncomparable. So Vikram Bajrangi, Kumati Nivada, Sumati ke Sangi. So Kumati Nivada, Kumati means Mati, Buddhi. Kubuddhi. Kubuddhi means, so Buddhi which is strong thinking Buddhi. Hanumanji is somebody who removes this wrong thinking. If one needs clarity in thinking, this is a prayer. This is a prayer you do. Somebody was asking, when they chant Hanuman Chalisa, so they have this, there is a certain paddhati, niyama of doing it. And they become mantras also. Each of these verses can be chanted as a mantra. And in that mantra chanting, this becomes the sankalpa, depending on what you are praying for. Suppose you are praying for clarity of thinking, removal of kumati, bringing in sumati, right thinking, then this becomes your sankalpa. Then they will alternate the same verse, they will keep repeating and alternate with the rest of the Chalisa. So like that, 40 times you repeat this while you repeat Hanuman Chalisa. This is the way it is done. And then somebody, whatever kind of thing you are praying for, that particular verse becomes a sankalpa for that. They are doing that upstairs when they do the chanting. So thus, the one who dispels wrongful thinking is prayer to Hanumanji. That's why we pray to him for that. Sumati ke sangi, the one whose anukulam, who favors, who facilitates, who reinforces sumati. We see that in Ramayana. Now, people who were dharmic people, like Vibhishana. Vibhishana was one person who, even though he was a brother of Ravana, he was a Rakshasa by birth. But he was not a Rakshasa in his thinking. In fact, Shurpanakha, when Shurpanakha goes and meets up with Rama and Lakshmana, and she is introducing herself, she says that I am Shurpanakha and I am the brother of, I'm the sister of Ravana, and then I have these 2 other brothers, and then Kumbhakarna is one, and Vibhishana is another one. And then each one little bit she describes. And she said, but this Vibhishana, he is very different. So he is not like us. In fact, he doesn't know, he doesn't follow, he does all wrong things. Because he doesn't do the proper things that a Rakshasa is supposed to do. So he goes against the nature of our Kula Dharma. Doesn't follow our Kula Dharma. Like that she sees it as a problem thing. Anyway, but Vibhishana was the one with Sumati, not the Kumati. So whether it was Vibhishana, is always on his side. Then later on also, Bhima comes into the picture in Mahabharata. Sumati, he fought on the side of Dharma. He was there. He was there in Arjuna's flag, sitting there on his chariot. So thus, Hanumanji is the one who is always Anukula to Sumati and Pratikulam to Kumati. Therefore, it is another thing that we can pray to him for. Kanchana Varana Viraj Subesha Kanana Kundala Kunchita Kesha. Kanchana Varana, complexion. He is Kanchana, golden. He was golden hued. golden hued monkey. Like some tribes they are golden in color. Perhaps blessing of Surya Devata. Really, he had gone and visited Surya Devata. He was blessed by him. He had this golden hue in his complexion. Then Subesha. Vesha is what? Vesha. So wearing beautiful attire, beautiful clothes. Kanana Kundala Kunchita Kesha. Kesha is hair. So he is one with curly hair, that is curly, and having kundalam. Kundalam in his ears. Not earring. There are two types of earrings. The ones that males wear is called kundala. The ones that females wear, I don't know what they call it. Earring. But kundalam is the big one, which men would wear. So he was born with, the story says, he was born with the kundalas, like Karna was born with Kavacham and Kundalam. Hanumanji was born with Kundalam. So there also, when Anjana was having him, then Narada goes and tells Vali. He tells Vali that Lord Shiva is going to manifest as Anjana's son, and he will be instrumental in your destruction. So Vali becomes very nervous, and in order to prevent that from happening, he gives some kind of, what is this called, Panchaloha. He gives this Panchaloha, the 5 metals they used to give to abort the fetus. So he gives this Panchaloha into the food of Anjana. So she ends up taking this in. Nothing happens to her, but this Panchaloha turns into this Kundala. That's the story. So this Panchaloha. So the idea is that whatever poison he was given didn't touch him, didn't affect him, but became a abhushana, became an ornament to him. Same thing. Something even negative, vibes. If somebody gives you negative vibes, what happens? You get positive vibes, you feel good, you feel happy. You get negative vibes, you become dejected, you become despondent, you become angry, you become upset. But for a good person, for a dharmic person, for a wise person, that is not what happens. Even a negative vibe that you get, it becomes abhushana. It's nothing. In fact, it becomes positive on you, really speaking. We should not be afraid of negative things. We get scared sometimes. Oh, negative, this negativity is going to affect me. It's going to affect me. He is doing bad things for me. He is doing this kinds of, all kinds of voodoo on me. All these things don't touch. They never touch a person who is a prayerful person. In fact, nothing negative touches him. We see stories like this also in the Puranas. So thus, for this Hanumanji, this Panchaloha just became another ornament which was meant to destroy him. So thus, Ananda Kundala, this is also Upasana Murti. So Murti for Upasana, when I do Upasana, when I have to visualize Sri Hanumanji, how do I visualize him? So as somebody with a golden hue, with beautiful clothes, with curly hair like that. So thus this is what is called as a Upasana Murti. That's why so deities will be described so that we are able to relate to them. हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे. हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा. In Hanumanji's hands, wherever you see a murti of Hanumanji, in his hands these two things always have to be there. One is what is called as Vajra. Vajra is the thunderbolt. And Dhwaja. Dhwaja is the flag. These are the two symbols of Hanumanji. thunderbolt, see, one is Indra. Indra blessed him. This is Indra's blessing he had. This is another thing. All the devatas, different devatas blessed him with many things. We'll see that later. But Indra blessed him. First he tried to destroy him with a thunderbolt. Remember? That's why Hanuman, that name came. But then he blesses him that the thunderbolt would never affect him. But his hand was a thunderbolt also. You look at his fights. If you see the description of his fights, Sri Hanumanji fought with his hands most of the time. And his hand nobody could. When he hit Ravana, everything shook. Even the earth shook. They say for Hanumanji's murti, when you make a murti, the hand should have vajra and dhwaja, and his feet should look like they are breaking the earth. They are gripping the earth in such a way that the earth is about to crack. That is how it is described. His murti should always have these features. So thus, because his hand itself, like a karate fellow, is fatal. He could hit a fatal blow with his hands. They were so powerful. And then, of course, he is the sign, dhwaja. What does dhwaja stand for? Flag. Dharma. Dhwaja stands for dharma. It's always dharma dhwaja. Sri Rama is a vigraha of dharma. Hanumanji is dharma dhwaja. It's perfect, As his duta, as his disciple. Hanumanji is there means Sri Rama is there. Dharma dhwaja is there means dharma is there. That's why you will see. And red color also. For Hanumanji, this is red flag. That's why in Hinduism you see this. This Bajrang Dal. You know Bajrang Dal? Their flag is this red flag. Saffron. This is all the saffron thing. So that color, it is dharma really speaking. It stands for dharma. In Trinidad, when they do pujas, whenever they perform any puja, these people, they always put this dharma dhwaja outside their house. So on a pole which is almost 12 to 15 feet tall, a huge flag of different colors. And therefore, different deities, they have different colors. For Hanumanji, it is red. When you do Hanuman puja in the house, so every time when they do a puja in the house, major puja, they'll put this flag outside, depending on whatever puja they did in the house. And every Hindu home just can be identified by the flags that are sitting right outside in their front yard, flowing. Amazing. Even they do this. They did this in the Caribbean.
In Jamaica also.
Even Jamaica. You go to Queens, there are certain areas where a lot of people from Trinidad and the Caribbean live. And even here, you see, in Queens, you will see that. Outside, we were driving that day, outside the house, you will see so many of these flags. They're so proud. So anyway, so dhwaja stands always for dharma. It's the emblem. Hanumanji. So Rama was vigraha for dharma. Hanumanji is a dharma dhwaja, always the proclamation of dharma. So dhwaja biraje kandhe munj janeyu saje. In the kandha shoulder, and on his shoulder there is this janeyu. There is the sacred thread made of munja grass. Munja is the name of a grass. So nowadays we put this janeyu made of thread. But there was a time, originally, where janeyu used to be of gold, it used to be of silver, it used to be of this munja grass. It stands for Shuddhi. Not only Shuddhi, but also stands for this adhikaritva, yogyata. Yogyata for Veda Jayana is this Yajnapaveeta, because he was a Pandit. Also, he has studied the Vedas. He was a Pandit. Stands for Shaucham, etc. So this is Hanumanji's murti. Kandhe munj jane musanje Shank शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन. हाँ क्या हुआ?
What is Sade?
Saje, sajta, it is there. Decorated. It's decorated with the शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन. Shankar Suvana Kesari Nandana. So he is the son of Kesari and he is the manifestation of Lord Shiva. What made Lord Shiva decide to manifest? So there was Anjana. Anjana was come to Prithvi, but she was in heaven. She was one of what were called as the Devakanyas. There were Ekadasha Devakanyas, 11 Devakanyas, like Ramba, Urvashi, like that there are Devakanyas. So she was Devakanya. Her name was Punjikasthala. So at one time, due to some indiscretion on her part, Brihaspati curses her that she is going to go be born as a monkey on Prithvi. And then she gets upset. But then he also tells that, so if she prays to Lord Shiva, if Lord Shiva agrees to manifest in her as her progeny, then when that happens, she can come back to heaven. So thus after she is born, so she becomes a Shiva Bhakta, and then she prays to him a lot, and then Lord Shiva is born as Hanumanji, and as soon as he is born, soon after, she returns to heaven. So thus is Punjikasthala. Thus he is Hanumanji is a sun manifestation of Lord Shiva. Kesari, his father was Kesari, who was the Raja, who was the king of that particular tribe of Vanaras. Tejas, brilliance, Pratap, courage, Maha Tejaha, Jagvandan, the one who is worshipped. Vandanam is worship. The one who is worshipped in the world, by the whole world. This is Sri Hanumanji. Vidyavan Guni Ati Chatur, Ram Kaj Karibe Ko Atur. Vidyavan. We saw this a little bit last time. He is Vidyavan, the one who is endowed with Vidya, full of knowledge. As I said last time, he was Navavyakarna Panditaha. He was very erudite in speaking. Nobody could speak like him. Not only that, he was also a Sangeetajnaha. He was a great musician. There was a time when Narada used to be a little bit haughty, arrogant, proud about his music ability, Sangeeta ability. Because he was the greatest, one of the greatest Sangeetajnaha. And he traveled all over the world and people would want to listen to his glory, singing of the Lord, etc. Then one time he visits Hanumanji. And Hanumanji is sitting there. And then he talks about me, I don't know exactly, he may have pointed out his ability. And then the Hanumanji starts music, his own singing. And so Narada asks him, you sit down, so you listen to me. So Narada sits down next to him, and his veena that is there in his hand, he puts there on the side, and so Hanumanji starts singing. As he's singing, so the stone on which this Narada's veena is there, that begins to melt. That begins to melt, and then his veena gets stuck. At some point, Hanumanji stops, and then the stone again recovers, becomes hard. His veena is stuck there. So now Narada says, oh, my veena got stuck, I can't take it out. You sang very good, very clapped and everything, sang very good. He can't pull out his veena. He says, now what am I going to do? So Hanumanji says, well, you are also a great singer. Why don't you sing? You sing and pull it out. so Narada tries to sing, but he's not able to do that. So in that way, he kind of humbles him. So thus he was a great Sangeetajna also. I have a murti, nice Hanumanji murti. I have a brass where he is playing this veena, Hanumanji playing veena. Not only that, there is a Ramayana that is attributed to Hanumanji. Hanumanji also wrote Ramayana. And then apparently Valmiki runs into him one time. And then they exchange notes. And Valmiki becomes a little bit nervous. So he says, now if my Ramayana, if they listen to you, if they see this one, then how am I going to publish? I'm not going to be able to publish my Ramayana. Nobody is going to listen to it. And so therefore he throws it away in the river. Hanumanji's Ramayana. And then so Valmiki, then his Ramayana becomes known. And then there is some stories there that later on, so one page of that is found somewhere by some bhakta later on. So there's one Ramayana attributed to Hanumanji. There is also what is called as the Hanuman Gita. So it's a commentary on Bhagavad Gita, interestingly, which is attributed to Hanumanji. I have that in fact. I have a copy of that from Gita, which is called as Hanuman Gita. So the Bhashyam is in Sanskrit, and the Bhashyam is said to have been written by Sri Hanumanji. So thus, he was Vidyavan, definitely. His gunas we have seen. I thought we see some verses that talk about his knowledge. So when Sri Rama and Lakshmana come into the forest, our Sugriva gets, notice this. He gets the report that there are these two people coming, and he starts getting nervous because he wonders who are these people. He thinks perhaps Vali has sent somebody, so in disguise, in order to come and destroy him. So then naturally the best, most reliable person is Hanumanji. So he tells Hanumanji, why don't you go there in disguise. Don't go as Vanara, go in disguise, and you find out who are these people. And Hanumanji, he had the ability to assume forms, different forms. So Ashtasiddhi ke data he had all these siddhis. So he takes the form of a bhikshu, and then of a mukshu, a bhikshu, and goes to them. And then they have a dialogue, but he is so captivated by Sri Rama that he asks them, of course, who are you all, etc. He himself talks about who he is, and then Sri Rama talks about who he is. So like that they have these introductions. And then Sri Rama comments to Lakshmana about this Hanumanji who has come. And this is what he says. Na Rigveda Vinitasya Na Yajurveda Dharinaha Na Samaveda Vidushaha Shakyameva Prabhashitum. This is Valmiki Ramayana. Na Anrit Veda Vinitasya. So a person who's not well versed in Rig Veda, na ayajur Veda dharina, a person who is not well understood, who has not well understood and grasped Yajur Veda, na asama Veda vidusha, means the one who has not mastered Sama Veda. Unless for a person who has not done any of these, such a person cannot talk like this. Evam prabhashitum na shakyam. So it is not possible for a person to talk like this, the way this person is talking, unless he has mastered all these three Vedas. Nunam vyakaranam kritsnam anena bahuda shrutam bahuvyaharatane na kinchidapashabditam. Nunam vyakaranam kritsnam. Nunam, certainly, indeed. Vyakaranam kritsnam. He has studied a lot of grammar. The way he talks. Anena bahuda shrutam. Not only study, you can study a lot of Sanskrit grammar, like we study. But there is no conversation going on around it. So you study all this grammar, you know Sanskrit in the books. If somebody talks Sanskrit, then you kind of lost. You never heard it before. Not book knowledge, no. Anena bahuda shrutam. He has not only mastered a language, you can master English. You can know English well. You can know English grammar well. Then you step out and you're surrounded by a bunch of teenagers who are talking in English and you don't have any clue as to what they are saying. Even though you understand all the words, you know the dictionary meaning, but you don't understand what they are talking. Bahuda shrutam. You have to even hear a language to see how it is being used, how it is being spoken. So thus he has heard a lot. Bahu vyaharatanena na kinchit apashabdita. So you can, if you notice, in so much that he has talked, he's talked a lot. In all of this talking, there was no apashabda. Apashabda means, so there was no mistake. There was no mistake in his, no error in his speech. What kind of error can a person have? So of course one can be grammatical. Then he describes it further. Na mukhe netrayorvapi lalate cha bhruvostatha anyeshvapi cha gatreshu dosha sammindita kvachit. There is no dosha. Dosha is a defect. Na mukhe. There is no dosha in his face. When someone talks to you, so the face, it is part of the speech, really speaking. So sometimes there are all kinds of facial expressions they do that distract you from what they are saying. Sometimes you watch this TV, the newscasters, and instead of listening to them, what they are saying, you keep looking at their face. Why? Because so the mouth goes in this direction, in that direction, and all kinds of expressions. You are not supposed to do that. That is considered a dosha. It's a defect. Na mukhe, netra yorvapi, eyes. So in talking, the eyes have to be. Some people don't look at you when they talk. They look here, they look there, they look there, all over the place. They don't look at you. No eye contact. Or some people stare at you. Then you get scared the way they stare at you. You don't listen. No. You have to look at a person and you have to not stare at a person. But look without staring. Na netrayor vapi lalate, forehead. So Bush, you ever heard see Bush talking? His forehead was always like this. Always up. He always looked perplexed. That's called the perplexed look. Looks like he didn't know what was going on around him. So that is again another dosha. Forehead should not be like this. Bhruvoho. Bhruvo is eyebrow. Frowning, putting this, doing this, all kinds of stuff. Anyeshu apicha gatreshu. Other limbs. So sometimes you don't know whether the hands are talking, or the legs are talking, or this mouth is talking. There's all kinds of waving all over the place. This is anyeshu gatreshu. He says sam viditaha kvachit. He says na dosha. There is no defect. Any of these kinds of defects. Avistaram asandigdam avilambitam adbhutam urastham kanthagam vakyam vartate madhyameshware. These are all things to know, because this is how you learn. He says, avistaram, brevity. Doesn't talk. Doesn't ramble. Brief. What he has to say, he says. No unnecessary usage of words. Asandigdam. No doubt. No doubt in his talking. What do you think? I don't know. It could be like this. It could be like that. Maybe like this. Maybe not. This is this kind of doubting is not there. He is very clear. Asandigdam. Avilambitam. Without hesitation. You have something to say, say it. You have nothing to say, keep quiet. No. Should I say this? Should I not say this? This kind of hesitation is not there in his speech. Adbhutam. What a wonderful, the way he talks is so wonderful. Urastham. Something that comes from the person's heart. Not a phony. You can tell a person. So they're just simply talking for the sake of, hello, how are you? I'm so happy to see you. You know this fellow, neither he is happy, nor you are happy, nor anybody is happy. But I'm so happy. So this kind of, this is not heartfelt. This is not real. His talk is urastham, comes from his heart. Kanthagam, guttural from his throat. Kanthagam vakyam. So vartate madhyame sware. Talking in an even modulated voice, neither too low nor too high. So this is not there. Now I don't have madhyama swara, but anyway, so his swaram was madhyama swaram. Samskara krama sampannam adrutam avilambitam ucharayati kalyani vacham hridaya harinim. Samskara krama sampannam. Sanskritam. What is Sanskritam? Sanskrit, of course, but then samyakritam, that which is grammatically correct. He talks. Samskara krama sampannam. Krama is shabda ucharanam, articulation. He doesn't mumble when he talks. He clearly articulates the words. Sampannam adrutam avilambitam. That which is without any, which is steady, which flows steadily. Not meandering all over the place. Not too fast, not too slow. He says without any delays. Without any delay. You ask somebody a question. Where did you go today? These people who do like that, you get impatient. Oh, come on now. Spit it out. Say what you have to say. So, avilambitam ucharayati kalyani. With good intention. Yeah. It's not just what you say. It's also what is there inside of you. In your head, in your heart. Kalyanam, something which is well-meaning for your good. Hridaya harini, to the one that is pleasing. You listen to the fellow and your heart feels happy. That kind of a speech. There are people, when you see them coming to talk to you, you want to run away. You back off. No. If you listen to this person, feel happy. Anaya chitraya vacha Visthana vyanjanasthaya kasya naradhyade chittam udyata serarerapi. He says anyatha, and in many other words, vichitram vacham, unique. Hanuman had a very unique style of talking, which was very captivating. Then tristhana vyanjanasthaya, tristhana, which is centered on these three, means it comes from the heart, it comes from the throat, and it comes from the head. So there is a certain consistency in all these three. Kasya na aradhyate chittam. He says, whose mind will not be pleased? Who will not be conciliated? That's why he was a great Duta of Rama. So, he says, na aradyate chitnam udyatasir arerapi. So this is even an enemy. Arihi is an enemy. Even an enemy who has his sword raised, his hand raised, with a sword in his hand, is about to bring it down and strike you. Even a person in that frame of mind, if he listens to him, even his mind, his heart will be turned. Evam vido yasya dutaha na bhavet parthivasya tu siddhyanti kitham katham tasya karyanam gatayo naja. Evam vidaha yasya dutaha na bhavet parthivasya tu. He says any king, Parthiva is a Raja. So anyone who has a duta as an emissary, Hanumanji introduced Sugriva, told him about his problems with Vali, told him that he is almost in the same kind of a boat as you are. You lost Sita, you are looking for her, you lost your kingdom in the forest. So my Sugriva, who I am his minister, he is also in a similar position. He has been thrown out of his kingdom. He has lost everything he had. And then, so it is very similar to him like that, he says. So he comes to Sri Rama as Sugriva's Duta. Sugriva was the king. So here Sri Rama says, well, anyone who has a Duta like him, Siddhyanti katham tasya karyana. He says, it is not possible that that person's work is not going to be done if he has a representative like this. Evam guna gunair yukta yasya syukkarya sadhakaha tasya siddhyanti sarvartha duta vakya prachoditaha. Evam gunaihi yuktaha. One who is endowed with such qualities. He is only talking about his qualities of talking. He says, who is the karya sadhaka? Someone with his qualities, who is a sadhaka, who accompanies you in fulfilling any particular karyam, any particular work. He says, tasya siddhyanti sarvarthaha duta vakya prachoditaha. As an emissary, whatever he goes and talks, that person's clear intent, he will be able to communicate. There can be no better person than him. He was such an articulate, erudite, intellectual. That was Hanumanji. You see more of this. Vidyavan Guni Ati Chatura. You see all how he is, gunas we have seen, his cleverness, his powers of observation.